Does this look familiar? Are you sick and tired of burning through your team's resources and constantly being chased by chargers? Well, fear no more, my friend, because just like this random rock, I'm here to save your day.
Half their stories, they be made up. I can't believe in cap tragedies.
Hey, what is good, Helldivers? It is I, Traj, back with some more Helldivers 2 content, and in this video it will be quite in-depth. We will be covering all the best loadouts from levels 1 through 20, so whether it's early game, mid game, late game, I do got you. I want this to be your one-stop shop. And right off the rip, I will say this video is going to be split into 4 parts. So we're going to have levels 1 through 8 being early game. We're going to have levels 8 through 15 being early mid game. We're going to have levels 15 through 20, which is kind of that no man's area. That we'll call that mid game. And then levels 20 and on, we'll call that late game. So we will dissect each of them, the reasoning behind them, the levels they unlock, the amount of credits they cost. And there's some that you get at level 2 and 3 that you will hold on to for quite a bit. So definitely don't skip ahead. And let's dive into it. Now, the bulk of this video will be tied to stratagems and which level you should unlock which, but before we get into that, I do want to cover the weapons. This here, the SG-225 breaker is what you want. This is what you should be desiring right off the rip. This is on page 4 of the war bonds, the free one, so make sure you don't spend any of your hard-earned medals on the pay to win one. Just use the free one and get to page 4 as soon as possible, as soon as you do unlock that. But I know that might take you some time, might take you to level 8 or 10, so until then you're going to use the AR-23 Liberator. This is actually the weapon that you use right off the rip, but you're going to want to make one major change, which is going to save you a lot of headaches early game. So you're going to want to switch the mode from automatic to burst. And what that's going to do, it's going to just make it pack a bit more of a punch. It's going to make you save a lot more ammo. You'll notice when it's on the assault, the default option, there's a lot of ammo that's being wasted. A lot of bullets that aren't necessarily going to hit a target. They die pretty quick. You don't need to put all those bullets into the enemy. On the burst, you're able to pick and choose, where you want to put your last, bullets, your last clips, and that could be crucial in this game. So in order to toggle this setting, you're going to want to open up, go over to gameplay, remember weapon functions, go to yes. Now anytime you use that weapon, it's going to be on burst by default. If you don't know how to go to burst, you hold on to the reload button and you can switch through there. Also, while we're here, another major setting to change, go over to HUD and go to reticle visibility and make sure that's visible. It's on dynamic by default, which does not give you a reticle when you're hip firing, which is very strange. As you can see here, I'm taking out enemies while hip firing. By default, I wouldn't have that reticle, so make sure you toggle that. But again, save your medals, don't buy any of those fancy other weapons, just save up, use the Liberator until you get this beautiful shotgun, and then you're holding on to the breaker for quite some time, possibly until they release some new weapons, because this thing absolutely smacks. And please forgive me if I'm wrong, but you should have enough medals to be able to buy the breaker pretty soon. I would say by level 8. So we'll say from 1 through 8 you use the burst and then you get the breaker for the remainder. But now for the fun stuff, we'll get into the stratagems and the loadouts for each phase of the game. First things first, we have early game. That's going to be from levels 1 through 8. And just to be honest guys, in this window, your main mission should be to extract. As fun as it can be when you first hop on, and take your time exploring and running around and going through your deaths and figuring out the weaknesses of the bad guys. But I will say at this level, you're not going to get too much XP and you're not going to get too much resources when it comes to long term. So what I would say is get to level 8 as soon as possible, get those good stratagems. You should be landing, finishing your mission, and extracting as fast as possible, again from levels 1 through 8. But throughout this course, there are some good stratagems that you can grab from levels 1 through 8. So right away, level 2, you unlock the Orbital Gatling Barrage for only 1,500 credits. At level 3, you unlock the Eagle Cluster Bomb for 4,000 credits. At level 5, you unlock one of the best stratagems in the game at such an early level, especially the Grenade Launcher for 6,000 credits. And at level 5, you unlock the Gatling Sentry for just 4,000 credits. So again, by level 5, this should be your loadout. It's really strong. It covers different portions of the game, whether you're trying to draw an airstrike, trying to take out a nest from afar, or just trying to lay down cover fire for you and your teammates. This loadout will cover each of those. So starting off with the Orbital Gatling Barrage, this one in particular, I found out that it actually destroys eggs, possibly as good as any other stratagem in the game, and you get it at level 2. And what I mean by eggs is you'll pull up to a mission, you have to get in there and destroy 3 sections of eggs. It's usually like 60 eggs total or something like that. With the Gatling Barrage, it drops such a wide area, it sprays such a wide area that you actually can take out the entire objective without going near it, as you can see. So Orbital Gatling Barrage, really strong. It also, like I said, covers a wide area, so really good against the bugs, even against the robots. You know, if you want to take out a base, it's going to cover a wide section. The Eagle Cluster Bomb at level 3, so this one we're going to talk about for quite a bit. It is, I'd say, one of the best airstrikes that you're going to get, especially early on. You're going to hold on to this one probably up until level 15 when you swap it for the bomb. But we'll get into that later. So the Eagle Cluster Bomb, really strong. I will say you will kill your teammates with this one, so they got to get used to playing around that. It does destroy a massive area, and it comes in quick, so just make sure you're looking out for your teammates before you drop that in. But again, if it's your buddies, they'll get used to it. You got to tell them to get the hell out of the way. But this one has a huge impact. You get it very often. I'm going to break down the cooldown here, but you're pretty much able to call in about 3 of them before the cooldown even begins. So that's 3 different strikes. These can take out 20 enemies per strike. So essentially, if my mathematics are correct, you're taking out 60 enemies before you even need a cooldown if you get lucky. So very strong, really solid for taking out objectives, especially the Terminate Broadcast one. These are the fastest ways to get XP, by the way. You can land on the extract, drop in a cluster bomb, and start running towards the extraction. Or I'm sorry, drop in on the objective, drop a cluster bomb, and then run towards the extraction. By far the fastest XP. You can finish trivial and easy in like 2 minutes and get thousands of XP. Next, we have the grenade launcher at level 5, as mentioned, unlocked for 6,000 credits. One of the best weapons in the game. You're going to be able to call this in, and it gets 2 clips, so every time you get a resupply, it's also filling up your grenades. In each clip, shoots a ton of grenades, way more than I was expecting. This is going to be really strong for taking out those nests from a distance. You know, those 4 grenades go fast. Sometimes you have to wait around for a resupply. With the grenade launcher, sometimes you'll have to spam them, sometimes you will miss. It's kind of strange. I don't think there's too much of a skill to it. It's a little buggy, but shoot them into those nests from a distance and get on to the next objective. Going to save you a lot of time, a lot of deaths, and a lot of grenades. And then next we have the Gatling Sentry, as mentioned, at level 5 for 4,000 credits. So the Gatling Sentry is solid for what its job is. So if you're at extraction and you just need some cover fire, you throw it in. If you're, waiting to plant the super flag or waiting for data to upload, the sentries are great for cover fire. You just got to be careful where you place them. They can get destroyed rather quickly. And then it's another couple minutes before you get another one. So definitely want to make sure you're placing them in a strategic area, but they can, mow down the enemies, especially against the bugs. Versus the robots, I'm going to say the mortar is going to be better, but again, you don't get that to level 8, and that's going to be part of the next portion of the video, which we'll dive into now. Next, we will be transitioning into the early to mid-game levels, so levels 8 through 15. This is when you start to get exposed to some of the more fun stratagems, the jetpack for one of my personal favorites, as well as the Mortar Sentry. So in this loadout, you're going to be keeping the Eagle Cluster, you're going to be keeping the grenade launcher actually for quite some time, and you may be tempted by a lot of the different stratagems that you've now unlocked, but personally, I'd say save those up for the level 15, the level 20 unlocks. There's a lot of stratagems out there, and for early game like this, I think you should hang on to them. But nonetheless, definitely do purchase the jetpack and the Mortar Sentry at level 8. And before we highlight the new stratagems that you've just equipped, being the jetpack and Mortar Sentry, I want to discuss why we're keeping the Eagle Cluster and grenade launcher. You may be asking, it's only level 3, only level 5, what are we hanging on to this for? But these, like I said, they pack a punch and they're very cost effective. The other stratagems that you can unlock at this level are expensive and they do the same thing. As mentioned, the Eagle Cluster destroys any objective that it's possible to do so, and the grenade launcher is huge for clearing nests and even taking out some of the bad guys. So again, we're keeping those for quite some time. We will be replacing the Orbital Gatling Barrage with the jetpack, and we will be replacing the Gatling Sentry with the Mortar Sentry. So covering the jetpack, it does exactly what you'd expect. It's not something that you can just hang on to and hover around for good. It's simply an evade. Also, it helps you get into high positions that sometimes will save your life from chargers. So jetpacks, again, as soon as you can unlock these, certainly make sure you do so. You're going to find that you're surviving situations that you never would have beforehand, and once you put on a jetpack, it's very hard to take off. And for that reason, you'll be hanging on to the jetpack until level 20 when you swap it out for the shield generator pack. There's just nothing else out there that gives you that evade that the jetpack does. Unless you're a great teammate and you want to do the supply pack, that's certainly an option as well. But as displayed above, the jetpack will get you out of some extremely sticky situations and save you some revives in the process. And our next swap out, we have the Mortar Sentry at level 8 for 3,500 credits being swapped out with the Gatling Sentry. Again, this is at level 8 and you'll hang on to this through level 15, if not further. I've seen people in late game hang on to the Mortar Sentry because it does exactly what you think. You place it down at extraction and it stops hordes and invasions from even getting close to you. So it will kill your teammates quite a bit like the cluster bomb, but it just takes getting used to. You need to understand where to place them because bad guys can destroy them before they even do their job. So it's a mix of putting them in a place where it won't kill your teammates, understanding that your teammates need not be next to the enemies because this thing does not discriminate, and also just being able to defend the mortar from bad guys as they close in. But again, very strong for extraction, very good at seeing enemies that you cannot as well. Next up, getting closer to level 20 where the fun begins. We're now at levels 15 through 20. We're going to call this mid-game. And I like to call it no man's land because it's a short period of time. You're so close to the fun stratagems. You're still using some early game stratagems. You're just using a mix. But at level 15, you do unlock the Eagle 500 kg bomb, which is an absolute nuke. So that's what you'll replace the Eagle cluster with at level 15. Besides that, I'm keeping my loadout the same. So we're sticking with the jetpack. We still have grenade launcher. We still have mortar sentry. Again, we now just have that Eagle bomb as our newest toy. And this thing is a one-time explosion, so you don't have to worry about clearing the way for more than long. But in that short window, you better not be close because this thing, as mentioned, is Oppenheimer sized. Alright amigos, wrapping up the video, we do have the late game build, so this will be for level 20 and on. So of course keep in mind guys that this is just a guide. There's many different ways to hell dive and to complete missions and to extract, and you guys may have some better loadouts than me, but as far as I'm concerned, these are the best loadouts, so I wanted to give you some structure. So even if I can save one or two of you guys some of your hard-earned credits, then that's a win for me. But again, at level 20 we'll be replacing 2 of our stratagems for now. So we want to get that shield generator pack, which is unlocked at level 20 for 10,000 credits. You want to swap that with the jetpack, and then we want to replace the grenade launcher, our favorite toy that we've now held on to since level 5. We're going to drop that and replace that for the railgun, which is also 10k credits unlocked at level 20. The railgun and the shield generator pack are absolutely unreal. Keep in mind there are a lot of different things that pack a similar punch that you can unlock at this point in the game, but these are my absolute favorites. So again, at level 20, I'm going to be rocking the 500 kg bomb, that's the Eagle bomb, the railgun, the mortar sentry, and the shield generator pack. I believe this is going to be the best build for many different reasons, but let's dive first into the railgun. So the grenade launcher, as fun as it was, it does not one-shot bad guys, and there's all sorts of different scenarios where this is going to save your life. So figuring out the weakness, I'd say, is going to be really important when using the railgun. Every single bad guy does have a weakness, you just have to figure out what that is, and the railgun will assist you in finishing them once you do so. So really good for one-shots against all sorts of enemies. That can also save you from having to drop a 500 kg bomb. Maybe before that was the only way to clear a big nest. Now you can take out, the big guy with one shot of the railgun. And last but not least, we have the most overpowered stratagem at this point in the game, the shield generator pack. So get your XP, get your extractions in now. I wouldn't be shocked if this thing is nerfed eventually. But very strong. I believe it's 10,000 credits. If you've been following my guide, you'll have more than enough for the end, and that's what we've been saving for. So whether you're running for your life from some robots or you're running into a bug's nest, this thing will just pretty much make you immune to that initial damage. It adds a force field to a sense, so you really do have armor, extra shield. There's certain bugs that you're immune to now, whether they're throwing up on you, whether they're charging at you, you'll be able to eat that initial damage. But once that shield does wear down, make sure you escape, make sure you run off because it is on a cooldown, but it will reactivate on its own. It's not like you have to call it in over and over like other stratagems. You call it in once, similar to a jetpack, and then you have it on, but it's entirely passive. You don't have to do anything. So you set it, you forget it, and you are now a tank. You're no longer just a measly helldiver. But that is all, my friends. If you guys did enjoy the video, please do consider liking and subscribing. It does go a long way. It does help us out over here. But I do appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day, and good luck helldiving, y'all. Peace.